And wherever you are, go ahead and share tonight's episode with someone, with a friend. And if you're driving in your car, let someone know where they can hear TMG.
It's time to get on board. TMG is taking off.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to TMG. I'm your host, Travis Patton Sr. I enjoy discovering and sharing real-life moments of inspiration from everyday people. And this show is about finding moments of inspiration for our everyday lives. And look, and if you're going to tell me something, then tell me something good. Hi, everybody! Welcome to a new episode of TMG. I'm your host, Travis Patton Sr. Hey, guys, before we get started real quick, don't forget to visit, share, subscribe, and like our YouTube page. That's Tell Me Something Good with a capital T. And as always, I want to give a huge shout out to my biggest supporter, my biggest fan, my lovely wife, Nicole. Hey, girl, how you doing? I know you're watching. I know you're listening. Man, today's episode is going to be amazing. This is one of those episodes I was thinking about, and the more I thought about it, the more I realized just how necessary this episode topic is today, just how needed it is for so many people, guys. And I am excited to have each and every one of you joining me today, whether this is your first time streaming in, or maybe you've been streaming in for the 4 years we've been on. Let me take the time and take this moment to tell you thank you. Thank you for continuing to show up. Thank you for continuing to support. Thank you for continuing to be here. And let me tell you, whether you are in the Philippines, or in France, or in Germany, or in Spain, or in Trinidad and Tobago, or in Mexico, or right here in the United States, I want to take this moment in time to tell you thank you so much for being a part of this show. I really appreciate it. And you say, Travis, man, this is not my first rodeo. I've been here with you for the years you've been streaming. A very special thank you to you as well. I appreciate you guys. I really do. Guys, today's episode is going to be great. But before I get started with today's episode, you might want to look behind me and you see some information. I'll provide some information about that, guys. But I want to go ahead and say this, guys. Everybody knows that this show is all about finding moments of inspiration for our everyday lives. So if you have an inspiring story that you like to tell and maybe come on the show, drop me an email at tellme21@gmail.com. And you say, well, Travis, I know someone that has an amazing story that your audience and your guests would love to hear. But I don't want to come on the show, man. I'm a little camera shy. That's okay. Drop us an email at tellme21@gmail.com. That's tellme21@gmail.com. And guess what? And you can even remain anonymous if you like. Guys, before we get started into this episode, I want to go ahead and share some information. And then I want to share some information about our sponsors. Get that out the way because I'm ready to get into this episode, guys. If you look behind me, you realize that October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I want to provide some information with you that you may or may not be aware of that can help save your life or maybe your loved one's life, or at least give you some information and empower you with some knowledge. 1 in 8 women in the United States will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. In 2024, an estimated 310,720 women and 2,800, that's 2,800 men, will be diagnosed with an invasive form of breast cancer. Chances are, with numbers that high, you know at least one person who has been personally affected by breast cancer. But guess what? But there is hope. When caught in its earliest localized stages, the 5-year relative survival rate is 99%. That's right. If early detection, 99%. Advances in early detection and treatment methods have significantly increased breast cancer survival rates in recent years, and there are currently over 4 million breast cancer survivors, breast cancer conquerors, right here in the United States. Awareness of the facts and the statistics surrounding breast cancer in the United States is key to empowering individuals to make informed decisions about their health. So there is hope, guys. And if you need for further information, the information you need is right there on the screen, guys, for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. That's right there on your screen. Please visit for additional information. Guys, I'm going to play some information from our affiliate sponsors. Once I do that, we're coming back and we're going to dive into the show. This right here, this is going to be real good because I'm waiting for this. Walmart is a proud associate sponsor of TMG Tell Me Something Good podcast. Please use the special link bit.ly/Tell Me Something Good and visit our sponsor. Remember, I may earn a commission when you buy through this link. Fanatics is the place to go for all of your officially licensed sports gear from your favorite sports and sports teams. Use the special link bit.ly/Tell Me Something 21 and pay a visit to our sponsor today. Remember, I may earn a commission when you buy through this link.
Breaking your phone sucks. Breaking your phone, then trying to sell it online sucks. Breaking your phone, selling it online, only to find out that the money you'll only get for it sucks. Breaking your phone, selling it online for peanuts, shipping it, and finding out that you got scammed sucks. Gizmodo makes selling your phone fast, safe, and simple by paying you the highest price for your device. And with Gizmodo's free unlimited shipping and price guarantee, millions of people are starting to sell on Gizmodo. Fast, safe, simple. Gizmodo, the best way to.
There it is right there, guys. Please visit one of our affiliate sponsors. And you would say, Travis, what's the information? If you're watching this, you'll see it right there in the chat. And if you're going to go back and listen to this later on one of the streaming services like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, guys, listen up. I'll have the information for you as well. Guys, today's episode, if you did not get a chance to catch it, so I want to dive right into it. If you did not get a chance to catch today's episode title, guys, it's entitled Clap Your Hands. Yeah. Clap your hands. Yeah. And clap your hands. Yeah. Clap your hands. Yeah. We are all familiar with the sound of an applause. We're all familiar with the sound of hands clapping. We're all familiar with the sound that an applause makes, and we're familiar with what it feels like when an applause is given, turn on any TV or the radio, and if you remain on any station long enough, you might hear the thunderous sound of an applause. Yeah, turn on any TV or radio, and you leave it on that station anytime, any length of time, just long enough. If you leave it on there any length of time, you'll hear the thunderous sound of an applause. They may be clapping because their favorite actor or actress came onto the scene. They may be clapping because their favorite songwriter or their singer sung their song. They may be clapping because their favorite individual happened to make a cameo, or maybe someone said something that they like. But people are familiar with the sound of an applause. And even in a movie or a theater, I've gone to the movies before. I've been at the movies. And something can happen that everyone in the theater, now you pay your money at this movie, and something happens, and everyone in the theater likes what they see on the screen. And all of a sudden, the whole entire theater breaks out into an applause. Have you ever been in a movie that everyone was enjoying, and the theater was packed, or it had a good number of people, and something happened on the screen, and all of a sudden everybody broke out and started clapping? Maybe their hero saved the day, or maybe the bad guy got stopped, but something happened on the screen and it made everybody begin to clap their hands. Even in a movie theater or in the opera, it's hard for people to withhold an applause in celebration for either a good scene or an act that they enjoyed. And I find this, man, I don't care how difficult or how hard that person is. It doesn't matter what that person's background is. I have found that even the most hardened and pretentious individuals might find it difficult not to break character and give an applause for something or someone they felt deserved it. There are all kinds of reasons we find to give an applause for things, right? We find all kinds of reasons. Somebody gets a brand new car. Oh man, I love that car. Someone does make good grades in school. Congratulations, good going. We find all kinds of reasons to give a person an applause. They get a raise, they get a promotion, and we're right there applauding them. There are all kinds of reasons we find to give an applause for things. We'll even applaud our pets. Yeah, if you throw a stick and tell your dog to fetch it, and they fetch the stick, when they come back, good boy, good girl, and you're applauding them. We applaud babies and children when they're learning to walk. Even if they stumble and fall, you can do it. Get back up. I know you can do it. We find all kinds of reasons to applaud things. And for some that's giving the applause, for some, those that are giving the applause means going out of their way and doing something for someone else that they usually might not do, because sometimes it's not the number of applause that people give you. Sometimes it's not the time frame I asked. It's not that, but sometimes it's not the applause that you get. Sometimes it's the applause that was withheld. Yeah, sometimes the problem isn't that the applause that you got. Sometimes it's the applause that you didn't get. Sometimes it's the applause that others withheld from you. You go to school, you went to school, you made the good grades, You were the good child. You were the good student, and they still withheld the applause. Here you are, and you didn't get in trouble in life. You didn't have the problems. They didn't have to bail you out of all your situations, and they still won't applaud you. Here you are making a good life for yourself, and they still won't applaud you. You did all the work. You met all the goals. You met all the sales quotas. You did everything they asked you to do, and they still won't applaud you. Sometimes it is the applause that was withheld that makes the most difference. Sometimes it's the applause that was withheld from us that makes us feel some kind of way. Here I am doing all of this, and you still won't applaud me. You didn't have to come and get me out of trouble. You didn't have to bail me out, and you still withheld the applause. Everyone likes to be applauded. And applause, and think about it, and applause is a way of communication. That's right. When you give an applaud, it is a way of communication. Through applause, we can communicate social recognition, approval, respect, and a host of other feelings and emotions. Clapping can also be a way to de-stress and control anxiety symptoms. Did you know that psychologists believe that the energy, that's just the energy created by clapping can send positive signals to the mind, which can help prevent mood swings and depression. Right now, somebody listening is making their mind up. They're going to go through the house and start clapping more. Yeah, that's enough information right there to make you want to start clapping just a little bit more. Sometimes I walk through the house, and my wife is listening. She'll tell you, I'll walk through the house and I'll yell at the top of my voice, and I'll just be clapping. And at first, she was like, "Are you okay? Are you all right?" Then she realized the more I clapped, the better I began to feel. So she encourages it. She encourages. That's enough right there to ought to make you want to just start clapping a little bit more. Today was a tough day. I'm not clapping because I'm just clapping because I can. That right there is enough to ought to make you want to just clap just a little bit more. It can de-stress and control anxiety symptoms. The energy created by clapping can send positive signals to the mind, which can help prevent mood swings and depression. Now, I know it said it can help prevent mood swings. Right now, there are some husbands and some boyfriends and some people that are in relationship. You try to encourage your loved one to start clapping more because it's going to help prevent mood swings and depression. Everybody needs an applause. Let me ask everyone this question. How long has it been since you really felt the applause from someone else? How long has it been since you felt? How long has it been since you had your last applause? And as difficult as it may seem, And I know, as difficult as it may seem and as difficult as it may be to believe, but there are children who grow up without ever knowing what it is like to have someone applaud for them. Yeah, I know. You would think that a child, an infant, a baby, a toddler, or 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, you would think that the people of that age range will automatically have a people always applauding them, always clapping for them, always clapping for them. But as difficult as it may seem to believe, there are children who grow up without ever knowing what it is like to have someone applaud them. They are the adults who we see who go through life who can feel socially awkward when someone compliments them. You compliment them and they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle praise, and they clam up. You celebrate them and they withdraw. The more you celebrate them, the more they withdraw. The more you say great, good job, the more they shy away. The more you try to bring them to the forefront and bring them to the light, the more they stay behind in the shadows, because maybe, just maybe, no one ever gave them an applause. These are the adults who go through life who can feel socially awkward when complimented and socially withdrawn, because when you applaud, clapping is a way of communication, is a social acceptance. And if you've never learned to be socially accepted, then when someone tries to compliment you, you will withdraw. They can become overcritical of their mistakes that they make. Have you ever seen someone make a mistake, and instead of saying that they made a mistake, they say that I am a mistake? Someone never clapped for you. Somebody never clapped for you because they become socially withdrawn and socially awkward and can't handle compliments, don't know how to deal with a true compliment that was given. Because if you won't clap for me when I do what you say, then surely you will not clap for me when I don't. Have you ever seen people or experienced when people say, if you do this for me, if you do that, and they do it and they don't clap for you? If you don't clap for me when I'm doing the right things, if you don't clap for me when I'm saying the right things, surely there's no way you're going to clap for me when I don't. And so I become socially awkward. I can't handle myself well in social settings. I can't handle myself because I'm afraid I'm going to make a mistake. I'm afraid that because I am a mistake and I don't deserve an applause. Because if you don't clap for me when I'm taking care of you, if you don't clap for me when I'm doing these things, if you don't clap for me, surely you won't clap when I am socially awkward. It's not that I'm a recluse. I've never had a. It's not that I don't like being around people. It's not that I don't like talking to people. It's not that I always enjoy being by myself. It's just that. But the applause itself, doesn't tell the whole story. Yeah, you think this tells the whole story. You think clapping tells the whole story. You might think that clapping tells the whole story. If you see your favorite singer or performer on stage and they sing a song or they perform something that you enjoy and everyone begins clapping and you think that this tells the whole story, someone gets a promotion and the whole audience or the entire office begins to clap. You think this tells the whole story? You finally stop smoking and you finally kick the habit and you do this. But this doesn't tell the whole story. You finally break a habit that you've been trying to break. You finally hit a goal you've been trying to hit. But this doesn't tell the whole story. You would think that someone who's in Hollywood or who makes millions of dollars and someone who's accustomed to getting this, someone who's accustomed to getting an applause, you would think that the applause itself would tell the whole story, but the applause itself doesn't tell the whole story. The applause itself doesn't give all the details. The applause itself doesn't provide everything you need to know about that person. The applause itself doesn't tell you everything about their performance. The applause itself doesn't tell you everything about how they were able to hit that high note when they sang that song. The applause itself doesn't tell you everything about how that book they wrote became a bestseller. The applause itself doesn't tell you how that single parent was able to raise those 3 children all by themselves. The applause itself doesn't tell the entire story. It doesn't give the full details. The applause itself doesn't provide everything you need to know. It's what happens in between the clap. Yeah, the story of how they made it on the stage is in between the claps. The story of how they made it to perform the way they did is in between the clap. The way the parent made it to take care of those children and go to school and have a full-time job. It's in between the clap. Are there any single parents listening or parents listening that you had to take care of the children and hold down a full-time job and go to school? Holler at me and tell me, yeah, it was me. It was me. If you ever had to grow up and raise yourself and raise your brothers and raise your sisters and had to raise your cousins and you had to do it by yourself because maybe your parents or your grandparents had to work and you had to help be there and take care of your siblings. Yeah, they said, oh man, they turned out good, but what they don't know is the story in between the clap, when you had to survive the things that you did and you go through what you've been through and people pat you on the back and they say, man, you sure are strong. Girl, you sure are bossing right now. They don't realize you're in boss mode and they want to clap you and pat you on the back, but what they don't understand is your story is not the applause. Your story is told in between every clap, every time they pat you on the back, every time they clap for you. They don't realize that your story really took place in between the clap. Girl, you sure married a good man, but what they don't know is all the bad relationships that you had in between the clap. Man, you got a great wife. You have a great career. Your children are wonderful. Man, you're doing a fantastic job. Way to go, man. And what they don't know is your story doesn't stop at the applause. Your story doesn't begin with the applause. Your story happens in between the clap. The applause itself doesn't give all the details. The applause itself doesn't tell the nights that you stayed up, because in between a clap tells you why you are clapping. It's the story that's in between the clap that tells you why that performer is performing the way they are. It's the story in between the clap that tells you why this athlete can run and catch and jump and do what they do. It's the practices they sit in. Listen, even when practice was over, there were some who stayed after practice. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the work. The story happens in between the clap, because in between a clap tells you why you are clapping. It's the brief pause in between the clap that tells you what happened. It's the pause in between the clap that reveals the struggle. It would be naive of me. It would be completely irresponsible and naive of me to believe that the loudest part of any clap is the sounding of the hands. If I believe that the loudest part of a clap is the hands coming together, it would be irresponsible and naive of me to believe that the loudest part of any clap is the hands, when the loudest part of a clap is the brief pause in between the clap. Because in between the clap is the story of how we got here. The pause in between the clap reveals the tears no one saw. The pause in between the clap reveals the heartache and the disappointment and all the letdowns and failures that you had to deal with. The pause in between the clap speaks to all the practices and the ballet recitals you attended. The pause in between the clap speaks to the days and nights spent studying to earn 3 letters on a piece of paper. It speaks to of a cancer survivor taking their last chemo treatments. The pause in between the clap for a person on dialysis speaks to the countless hours connected to a machine while it pumps life in and out of their bodies. The loudest part of a clap isn't when the hands come together. It's what you don't hear in between the clap. Yeah, it's what you don't hear in between the clap. The loudest part of any clap is the pause in between the clap. Guys, I want to put up a picture. And for those who aren't watching this right now, I'm going to place up a picture of some babies clapping. Yeah, look at them. Oh, cute. Oh, and cute. And we love to see babies clapping, don't we? Everyone loves to see a baby clapping. And it's something about it. It's like it's automatic. It's almost automatic. It's like it's almost automatic. A baby begins clapping and they begin smiling. It's like it's automatic. It's like once a baby begins to clap, a smile instantly comes on their face. I haven't seen a baby yet that starts clapping and doesn't begin to smile in some sort of way. I haven't. I'm sure there may be some existing, but I have yet to encounter a baby that once they begin to clap, that a smile doesn't automatically come on their face. It's like it is automatic. A baby begins to clap and a smile instantly comes on their face. One of the first things a baby learns to do, one of the first things a baby learns to mimic is clapping. That's right. One of the first things a baby learns to mimic is clapping. And because they see the parents doing it, they see the uncles and aunties doing it, they see someone on a TV program that they're watching, they see them doing it. So they begin mimicking what they see everyone in the room doing. So they begin to see everybody do it. And so now it makes them feel like they're a part. So one of the first things a baby learns to mimic is clapping, because it does not require much effort on their part. All it requires is the ability to mimic what they see and a little hand coordination. It doesn't require a whole lot. They just need to be able to mimic what they see, and just a little coordination. It don't take very much for them to do it. There's no cognition involved. There's no cognition involved. You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't require them to understand what they are doing. All it requires is for them to mimic what they see. So babies will clap, and they may not even understand why they're clapping, but a smile comes on their face, or that first look of bewilderment, and they'll look up at you like, am I doing this right? And they'll look at you for approval. They'll start clapping, and they'll look at you like, am I doing it right? Am I clapping the right way? And you give them that smile of approval, and they start clapping harder, and they start smiling bigger. And it doesn't require much. They don't have to understand what they're doing. All they have to do is mimic what they see everyone else is doing. All they have to do is mimic what they see everyone is doing on TV or on their tablet or on their iPad. All they have, in order to fit in, to be like everybody else, all they have to do is just mimic what they see. It doesn't require any thinking on their part. It doesn't require any cognition on their part. It doesn't require any understanding on their part. All they have to do to be like everybody else is mimic what they see. At first, they do it to be a part. Yeah, at first they do it to be a part of what they see that others are doing. So they learn to clap without even understanding why they are doing it. So babies are clapping without even understanding why they're clapping. Someone could say, oh man, they just jumped off a bridge, and people start clapping, and the babies will too. Someone could say, oh man, they just lost their job, and people could start clapping, and babies will start clapping too. Someone could say, well, I don't like this person, and they could start clapping, and babies will start clapping too. Someone could say, this person here, I think they're the most vile individual on this planet. They can start clapping, and the babies will start clapping too. And they'll be clapping in support of what was said and what was done, without even understanding what was said or done, without even understanding if it impacts them. They'll clap without understanding if it's going to hurt them. They'll clap in support without understanding if this is a good thing for me or not. They'll clap in support without even understanding if this is something that I need to do. They'll clap in support of something without even understanding this is not good for me. They'll clap in support of something without even knowing and understanding if this is something that I really need in my life. And it gave me to begin wondering when I thought about this and I studied this, and I began to wonder when I learned and understand that one of the first things that a baby learns to mimic is clapping, and they'll clap for things, and they'll clap for support and support of things without even understanding what that thing is. They'll clap in support of stuff without even knowing why. And I began to understand, I started to wonder. I wonder, and each of us have all been babies. Each of us have all been babies. And I began to wonder, I wonder if our little baby in us, if our little baby inside of us, I wonder when we're clapping in support of things and we still don't have a full understanding. I wonder if it's not the adult in us that's clapping. I wonder if it's the little baby still clapping for things without understanding why. I begin to wonder, is it our little baby still clapping for stuff that we should get away from? Is our little baby still showing support of things just so we can be accepted? Is our little baby still just clapping and we don't understand how something will negatively impact us? I was wondering, is our little baby still clapping for stuff that can harm us? Are we still clapping for negative ways of thinking? All because we feel that's all we can do. Yeah, a baby will do what they can do. Well, this is just how my life is. So, you know how it is. I'm just waiting. When you get old, that's just how life is when you get old. Oh, that's just the way. I've had so many mistakes. I don't know what I'm going to do. I would get up and I would do better. But I wonder, is your little baby still clapping without understanding? Is your little baby still clapping in support of things that you can change? Is your little baby still clapping without understanding that it can be better? Is your little baby still clapping, not knowing or realizing that you can do more? How many things are we putting in the effort and the time into without either fully understanding or agreeing with what it is so we don't get left out? How many of us doing things just so we don't get left out? Clapping involves one hand touching the other hand. One hand touching the other hand. What have you been touching to make yourself look good to others? Yeah, babies clapping so they can look good to everybody. And when a baby starts to clap, they'll look up at you because they want your approval. They'll look up at you and they'll say, that look on their face will say, am I doing this right? Am I doing this good? Am I fitting in now? Am I one like y'all now? Am I a part of the group now? Am I a part of the crowd now? So what are you touching just so you can look good to others? Do you know that some people will spend their time and their effort reading and learning information just so they can look good in front of others? They will read. Now, there's nothing wrong with reading and getting information. I love to read. I love to get knowledge about different things. But why are you doing it? Just so someone could say, yes, you're clapping right. And you know this when they just randomly throw out facts for no reason whatsoever. Listen, let me moment of transparency. I like to read. I like to find out information. I do. I always have been. Always been that kind of person. I got family members that's listening, so they'll tell you I've always been that way. And I like that. I used to be that person. I used to just throw out random facts of stuff that I studied and I learned and just throw it out there. All because I wanted somebody to say, "You're fitting in now, Travis. You fit in now. You're one of us now." Yeah, I would do that. And how many of us, our little baby, is still clapping in support of things just because we want someone to say, "You're one of us now. You fit in now." I remember, man, when I started going to church, I kid you not, guys. And this is not a religious thing. When I started going to church, I would read the Bible a lot and try to read the Bible a whole lot. One, because I really wanted to read it. I really wanted to understand what it was about. But sometimes I would read it just so I could say I read it. Just so I could say I can memorize this scripture. I can memorize this verse of the Bible. And that was my little baby looking for approval. My little baby wanted to be able to fit in with adult conversations. Have you ever seen a child trying to fit into an adult conversation? They know the right words, but they lack the understanding. They know what to say. They got the words to say, but they lack the understanding. All because my little baby was still clapping. Is there something that you've been touching just so you can fit in with others? We find ways to still clap in support of habits. We still find ways to clap in support of unhealthy, toxic ways of thinking. We still find ways, and listen, and when we find this toxic way of thinking, let me help you out. We have this toxic way of thinking, and we have this toxic way, this sickening way of thinking, and we try to convince others that we're okay. Yeah, we're trying to convince others, but we're lying to ourselves by saying, "This is just the way I am." Is your baby still clapping? Yeah, it's your baby. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna mess with you a little bit. Is your baby still clapping? Yeah, it's your baby. Yeah, it makes you think. It's your babies. Come on. Don't leave now. Come on, stay with me. Come on. Yeah, we've all been there. Yeah, we've all touched some things just because we wanted somebody to say, "You're part of us now." We've all went, "Oh, come on. Be honest with me." We've all did, yeah, our babies, some of us, our babies are still clapping. But today, that baby is going to stop clapping. Yeah, all of our babies have been clapping for a while. During the pandemic had everybody shut up and shut in and indoors. Just like a baby being in a crib, just like a baby being in a playpen. We were all babies locked up in a playpen. We could go nowhere for months. And they pull the sides up on it, and all you could do is walk around and talk to each other or talk to ourselves and clap at everything that came on TV and clap at everything they showed you. We've all had our babies exposed. The pandemic exposed all of our little babies. Don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. Don't condemn yourself. Don't put yourself down, because the pandemic exposed all of our little babies. But today, we're going to stop that little baby from clapping. Today, that baby won't be clapping anymore. At first, babies learn to clap with others. And then they learn to clap because of others. And somewhere along the way, they learn that clapping makes them feel good. So I told you, I've yet to find a baby that when they begin clapping, that it seems automatically a smile comes on their face. So somewhere along the lines, they learn that clapping makes them feel good. So they begin to clap without others. So at first, they learn to clap with others. And then they learn to clap because of others. And somewhere along the line, they learn and feel that clapping makes them feel good. So they begin to clap without others. Have you ever walked into a room with a baby, with a child, with a toddler, and they're sitting there, they're just getting it in. They're just clapping and smiling and bouncing and clapping, bouncing and clapping. You peek around the corner and they still clapping. You trying to find out what it is, and they just are clapping and smiling. So somewhere along the line, they realize that clapping makes them feel good. So they begin to clap without others. And whether someone is watching them or not, they just keep. And sometimes when they see you watching them, they will stop or they will pause, look up at you, and start clapping again. Yeah, you walk into the room and they'll pause or they'll break their clap for a minute. They'll look up at you and they'll start clapping again. Yes, some people say that they won't even stop. They'll clap even if you come in the room. But sometimes they'll stop. They'll look at you and they'll start their clap again. A broken clap happens when something interrupts a clap. Yes, a broken clap happens when something interrupts a clap. If there has been anything that has interrupted your clap, now is the time to get your clap up again. You got to wake up the other side of you and say, I'm going to clap again. I'm going to try again. I'm going to do it again. Don't let something interrupt your clap. Don't let someone else's attitude interrupt your clap. Yes, it was a bad day. Don't let it interrupt your clap. You got to let that baby. You got to keep clapping. Did you know, guys, let me give you this information. This is good. This is good. Did you know, and some people might, but did you know that the average speed of our claps ranges from 2.5 to 5 claps per second. Yeah, 2.5 to 5 claps per second. That's not a lot of time to decide what you want next. That's not a lot of time to decide what you want to do next. It's not a lot of time to decide if you even want to do it again. Yeah, you might want to clap and then stop. It's not a lot of time to decide if you even want to do it again. It's not even a lot of time to decide if you even want to try again. I know some things have frustrated you. I know there were disappointments. I know there's been letdowns. I know there has been loss. But you don't have a lot of time to decide if you want to try again. 2.5 to 5 claps per second may not be a lot of time to make any type of decision, but it does mean that it can happen at any time. Yeah, you know I'm a firm believer of positive confession. You should begin to say this right now. Whatever you're looking to happen for in your life, the changes that you're going to make. I'm going to start clapping again. And the reason I'm going to start clapping again, man, the reason I'm going to try again, the reason I'm going to pick back up that pen and start writing again, the reason I'm going to keep trying in my career, the reason I'm going to keep trying with my children, the reason I'm going to keep going forward with my relationship, the reason I believe it can get better is because it can happen at any moment. Yeah, you ought to put that in chat. It can happen at any moment. The reason you're going to get up and not be depressed because what you want can happen at any moment. The reason I'm going to continue clapping because what I want can happen at any moment. The reason I won't give up on life, the reason I won't quit trying, the reason I'm going to keep going, the reason I'm going to keep making an impact is because it can happen at any moment. 2.5 to 5 claps per second. Yeah, it can happen at any moment. At any moment, you can decide to clap again. What happened to you does not have to decide who you become. You can clap again. You can smile again. It can happen at any moment. And when you think about some of the individual adversities you overcame and realize some of the personal challenges you overcame, yeah, you will begin to clap for yourself. And when you realize you no longer need certain individuals to clap for you any longer, you can walk away from toxic connections and unhealthy relationships because the only reason they were clapping for you and complimenting you was to try and control you. The only reason they clapped for you was in hopes that you wouldn't realize you no longer were dependent upon their clap any longer. Right now, some toxic relationships you can walk away from because you don't need their clap any longer. I don't need those. I'm not depending on you clapping for me. I know we talked about earlier that some children grow up without ever knowing what it's like to have someone to clap for them. It hurt you. It broke you. Listen, it didn't break you, but it hurt you. It wounded you. And I know that baby inside of you is wounded because somebody never clapped for you. Well, listen to what? I'm going to take 5 seconds and I'm going to clap for everybody that nobody clapped for. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Yeah, come on. I'm going to clap for you. I'm going to clap for you. When you made good grades, I'm going to clap for you. When you made the right decision, I'm going to clap for you. When you made the right choices in life, I'm going to clap for you. When you stayed out of trouble, I'm going to clap for you. When you got back on your feet after the divorce, after the trouble, after the problem, after the mistake, I'm going to clap for you. You doing the best you can, and you're in the middle of it right now. I'm going to clap for you. And the only reason I was clapping for you at first anyhow is to try to control you. Now that you realize you're no longer dependent upon their clap. I know your parent not applauding you, it hurts you. It wounded you. But that baby inside you now, you clapping. Not because they didn't clap for you. You're not clapping to fit in. You're not clapping to fit in with them anymore. You're not clapping because you want them to look at you anymore. But you're clapping now, even if they're not in the room. You're clapping now, even if they don't tell you good job. You're clapping now, even if they don't recognize it. Yeah, you ought to give yourself a round of applause right where you are. You ought to clap for yourself right where you are. You ought to clap where you are. You could be at work and start clapping for yourself. You could be getting your hair done, getting your nails done, washing your car, watching this show. Clap, clap, clap your hand, clap your hands. Give yourself a hand clap. And let me say this. It is not selfish to hope that you do well and to cheer for yourself. I say this. You don't have to go around blowing your own horn, but you should at least know how to clap to your own tune. When they give you a compliment, clap your hands. When someone says, well done, clap your hands. Listen, and if no one else is around to see what you've done, stand in front of a mirror and clap your hands. And if by chance you don't have a mirror and all you got is your dog or your pet or your goldfish with you, tell them what you've done and clap your hands. Don't allow another 24 hours to pass without being proud of yourself. This is not just about taking the time to celebrate yourself. It's about how you see yourself and about the story we believe about ourselves. It's about recognizing all of the toxic things and walking away from them. It's about finally realizing that you are worth it and that you do have value, because people will only clap for things that they feel have value. Guys, I'm getting ready to close out. Some of you may be familiar with the word plaudit. 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 It comes from a Latin verb, plaudere. Plaudere. Plaudere, which means to applaud. Plaudit means to applaud. And for example, if someone writes a play or a movie they enjoy received a lot of applause, they would say that the movie or the play deserves the plaudit that it received. It deserved the applause that it received. Plaudit comes from the Latin word plaudere, means to applaud. And plaudere, guys, get this, plaudere is also the ancestor of the word explode. So each time you clap for yourself, you're causing something to explode within you. Yeah, I know you thought your dream was dormant. You ought to just start clapping about your dream. Start clapping about what you're hoping for. Start clapping about the better life that you want. Start clapping about the good things you said. Because each time you begin to clap for it, you begin to cause it to explode inside of you. I know it felt like it was too long. I know it felt like it was dead. I know it felt like you wouldn't be able to do it. You should be the first one to start clapping for your dream. Start clapping for yourself. Yeah. Every time you clap for your dream, you cause it to explode inside of you. Each time you clap for yourself, you're causing something to explode within you. That's why when you clap your hands, happiness begins to explode within you. That's why when you clap your hands, our attitude becomes better. That's why when you clap your hands, stress leaves your body. Something is exploding within you right now. For everybody that's listening and watching, if you feel something that's exploding, put it in chat and just type explosion. It's an explosion. It's an explosion. Yeah. Psychologists believe that clapping can be a way to de-stress and control anxiety symptoms. The energy created by clapping can send positive signals to the mind, which can help prevent mood swings and depression. Sometimes, maybe all we need is to clap your Guys, I got to get out of here. It's been an amazing time. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, everyone, for streaming. Guys, I really appreciate you. Listen, don't forget you can tune in each week, guys, right here every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, to listen to the show. Or you can stream it each week on your favorite platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, YouTube, guys, and so many more. I got to get out of here, but it's always imparting. If you're going to tell me something, then tell me something good. I'm out of here, y'all. I got to go.